Hi guys, my name is Anna Warren and I did my project on food safety. So what is food safety? The University of Maryland describes it as the conditions and practices that preserve the quality of food. These practices prevent contamination and foodborne illnesses. So for this project I focused on the food safety in meat, so that way it wouldn't be so broad and I could zone in on the topic. But over on the side is the food production chain. And so meat starts in the production part of the cycle, and that's where the meat is grown. After all of this, it goes to a processing facility where that's the slaughterhouse, kind of where everything gets taken apart, and then it goes to distribution where it becomes more like the meat that we see, and then it goes to restaurants or retail like grocery stores, and then home prep or a chef in a restaurant's prep. And there are a lot of ways that food can get contaminated through this cycle. And so I think that food safety is something that affects everyone, from producers to consumers. Everyone is involved in this cycle, and it's a responsibility to keep food as safe as possible throughout this cycle. So a little history. There's evidence that people used ice and snow to prolong shelf life of food and meats, and this was a big lead into the invention of the ice box. And an ice box was something that was kind of in the home, and it had just lots of ice inside of it, and this was a major step in keeping food safe and keeping food in the home instead of going and getting it every day for whatever meal they were making that night. And a big legislation that was passed was on January 4th, 2011, and it was the Food Safety Modernization Act. And this act shifted the focus from responding to preventing. So instead of responding to a food safety recall, they started to prevent one from happening, which was very major in the food industry. My research, I focused on the food safety in meats, and I found that a lot of food safety recalls or foodborne illnesses like outbreaks could have been prevented due to the knowledge and due to people having knowledge and better safety steps, which the Food Modernization Act really helped those safety steps. But I found that not a lot of people have proper knowledge on how to keep food safe within their own home. So the problem with food safety is the awareness. And so I feel like increasing awareness of food safety issues would really help solve this problem. So with coming up with a solution, when I was brainstorming, I looked at it as an educator. So I wanted to take advantage of the classroom/lab aspect of FCS classes, and I was looking for something that would benefit the CTE community but could also be altered and changed to fit whatever situation it would be used in. So the solution I came up with was a workshop on food safety directed at the foods classroom. So some of the problems that I came up with were when looking for stations, the timing of those stations, because I didn't want this to take up too much time, but also have enough time available to do the stations that I chose, which are all going to be explained and laid out later. I wanted them to be beneficial, so they needed enough time to be beneficial. And I also made connections with my old high school teacher, my foods teacher, to ask her opinion about things and what stations I should pick, what stations really wouldn't be beneficial, and what would correspond with the curriculum as much as possible. But then I also asked her if these stations would be well laid out enough to where they could be used in other situations. So the workshop includes 5 stations, an egg quality test, keep or toss, picking the right temperature, slicing an apple, and then you be the judge. Those are the names of all of the stations. In each station, there is a directions and explanation for teachers or whoever is running the workshop, explaining why the station is important, an information sheet for students that explains all the information needed to be able to complete the station, a direction sheet for students or whoever is doing the station to follow at the station, and then a student sheet to turn in for credit at the end of each station. So the first station is an egg quality test. In this station, students would be taking eggs from all different ages and all, like different qualities, and place them into a bowl of water to test these qualities. Here is the teacher sheet or the coordinator of the workshop sheet, and it explains everything that needs to be known about this station, the materials needed, the duration, and why it is important for people to know how to test the quality of eggs without ruining the eggs by breaking them, and this would be a really simple way for anyone to really test the quality of eggs. So here's an information sheet that tells students or whoever is participating in this activity everything they need to know. So it gives them an explanation of what the egg should be doing based on the freshness of the egg, and there's also a picture on here for a visual for people to use. I think this is really important so students can read the information but also see what should be happening to these eggs. And here's also a directions sheet that gives students everything from what they will be doing, what they should be seeing, and then where they should be recording this information, and making their own opinions, like in this chart, making their own opinions on whether they would eat that egg or toss it. I also added a couple questions as what they learned from this station, why they chose to either eat or toss any of the eggs, and also would they be able to do this at home, because I feel like that's the most important thing about this workshop, is them being able to take this information and use it in other places and teach other people as well how to do these activities or test on certain foods. So the second station is keep or toss. For this station, students will be making decisions on whether to keep or toss certain foods from the situations provided. Some of these situations could be tacos that were left out all night, and as most people know, those should be thrown out because they were not in a food safety zone, like temperature zone that was safe. But here's the teacher sheet, and here's the information sheet, which gives all the facts that are needed to complete this. So the food safety zone, when food should be stored, how long it should be stored. So like leftovers can't be, eaten after a week or so. And then the directions for this station. They're really simple. Students will just be placing the situation in either the refrigerator to keep the food or the trash can to toss it out. And here are the situations that I came up with to use for this station, and these would be probably printed out on a flashcard so they'd be easier to put into the either refrigerator or the trash can, and then students would label K or T for keep or toss on the situations to get credit for this station. So station 3 is picking the right temperature, and for this station students will be choosing the internal temperatures that certain meats should have after being cooked, so that way they know that they're safe. This is really important for students who cook at home. So this station also lays out how to properly test the temperature of meat by inserting the meat thermometer into the middle of the meat. That is on the information sheet. And this also gives everything every meat that will be used in this station to show their temperatures of what they should be, so students have that right then and there, so they can see it, they can memorize it, they can learn it, so that way when they do go home they know, hey, chicken should be cooked at 165. And there's the directions for this station as well. And this is the chart that they'll be placing all their food in. For this station, I thought it would be cool to have like maybe play food models that they could use to place onto the temperatures provided. This would also connect everything, so giving them a hands-on feel. Teachers or coordinators could also use like printed out pictures of food or leftovers to show. And then I also asked the question how to use a meat thermometer just to reinforce that idea. So the fourth station is slicing an apple. This station I thought was really cool because this would also give them a chance to practice their knife skills again. And it also shows them how to keep fruit safe in all throughout the process of just slicing an apple. So here's the directions, and here's the checklist that is mentioned. So that way students know, how to do it, but then also I put on there, tried to do the station without looking at the checklist to kind of test their own knowledge. So they should be washing the apple, washing the cutting board and knife, and then slicing the apple, and those skills come in through their knife skills. But then afterwards, putting the apple into an airtight bag and then putting it in the refrigerator, so that way the apple, stays fresh for as long as possible. And then the last workshop, or as said in the directions here, it could be the first workshop, but this is a workshop that is done with the whole class. A teacher or the coordinator will be doing kind of a mock demo where they would be practicing either knife skills or just kind of demoing anything that they felt would be easiest for this station. But throughout the activity they would be doing things wrong. So teachers or coordinators, the things they could do wrong would be like not washing their hands or, cross-contaminating meat and vegetables, but students at the end would be telling them what they did wrong. Throughout the demo, they could be writing things down that the teacher did wrong, and then after this demo, teachers would go over, what they did wrong, why they did it wrong, and so then students would know, this would, put into their brains that they would be judging what the teacher did wrong. So this could be an activity that would help them remember those skills better. So that is all of the stations that I chose for this workshop, and I feel like this workshop could be, molded and changed to really any situation that you could want it in. So another situation could be like kind of a health department doing a just kind of awareness thing of food safety, and they could use this workshop. I also feel like this could be used in a nursing home or a hospital type thing for patients that don't really get or don't really have the knowledge that they should about food safety. That's why I made directions, and I made the information sheet so simple, because this could be molded and used for really anything that a person could want it to be used for. But that is what I came up with. That is the solution. Thank you guys for watching.